Senior Moments, sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Good morning and welcome to the Senior Moment Show. My name is Bruce Lee. I am here with my co-host Sid Roeder. Good morning, Sid.
Good morning, Bruce.
I get a little frog in my throat today.
Yeah, you've been a little under the weather there, haven't you?
Ribbit, yeah. But we're here.
Well, I'm glad you're here. I hate doing this alone.
We're not too under the weather, which leads me to our guest, which is Britton Atkinson. He's a funeral director with White Pine Funeral Homes. Welcome, Britton.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Glad to have you here. So I'm not that under the weather, though. Just want to make sure that everybody knows that. Sid, tell us about our sponsor.
Absolutely. Our sponsor is the Empowering Seniors Group, which is a group of professionals that has dedicated their time and efforts to provide information to seniors, their family members, and really everybody who cares. And White Pine Funeral Home is actually one of the sponsors for this radio show. If you'd like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors Group, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info, or you can email us at empoweringseniorscv@gmail.com, and the CV stands for Cache Valley. And lastly, if you have any suggestions for this show, anyone you would like to see us invite, you can call me personally at 435-512-6406.
Thank you, Sid. And thanks to White Pine for helping to sponsor this show so we can bring it to you every week. We're going to have a little fun today because I know that everybody out there listening is not here in the studio with us, but Britton here is a young gentleman who is a funeral director down to White Pine. And we're going to learn about White Pine, but we're going to learn about Britton as well because, I want to know a little bit about why. Well, let's start with where are you from and what got you into this business?
Yeah, great question. So I am actually from Preston, Idaho, and grew up there. Graduated high school in 2018, and when I was a senior in high school, we were doing senior projects, and they told us to choose a career and kind of just do a job shadow. And so I was really good friends with the morticians' kids from Preston, and I knew the morticians up there quite well, and so I decided to do my senior project on funeral service with those guys. And I really enjoyed the business, and at that point it was working funerals, working viewings, just being able to see a lot of the people from the community come in and just talking and communicating and seeing those people. And that's what drew me to the business at first. I did my senior project, and then they asked me to be a part-time employee, so I would help out on the weekends and whenever they needed me, really. And so that was the start of everything. I went on a mission and came home and was referred to White Pine as they were opening up, and it's been a great fit for me, and I started part-time there and eventually moved into a full-time position as a funeral director there. So that's the story of how I got into the business, and I really, really enjoy it. It's a rewarding job that you can help people in need every single day. So it's a great job for me.
So you went, so after your mission, if I can ask you, did you go to school for this too, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the mortuary science program, it's a 2-year school program, but then it also has a 2-year internship along with it. So it's really 4 years of that education and then also the internship. However, you can do them simultaneously, so which is what I've done. I've got a week and a half left of school, and I've already done the internship working at White Pine for the past 2 years. So I will be done with my schooling here in about a week, which is very, very exciting. And so it's been great education. However, it'll be nice to not have to worry about school anymore.
Well, I'm curious, we've had representatives from White Pine on the show before. Tell us about what you've learned as you come into this industry, maybe some things that have surprised you, or what have been some of the key things that that you've learned that are maybe people listening don't understand or don't know that happens in funeral homes?
Yeah, I think the overall feeling of funeral directors and funeral homes are really just trying to help families as much as they can. And I say most of us funeral directors, we take it very seriously that you are in a moment that is probably the hardest thing that you'll ever be going through. And so anything that we can do, whether that is waking up in the middle of the night or responding to an email at 5 in the morning or 10 o'clock at night, anything that we can do to just make that a little bit easier, we will do it. And so that was surprising to me of how much work actually goes into making this funeral experience the best and easiest experience that it can be for the family. And we understand that it's never easy and that it's always going to be hard to lose a loved one, but just everything that we can do to help that be a little bit easier.
So I'm curious, is that a frequent occurrence that people actually do contact you in the middle of the night?
Yeah, so as far as when someone passes, that could be really any time, whether that's in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day. And usually, yes, we do get up in the middle of the night, put on our suit and tie and take care of those needs. So, yes, it does happen quite frequently of having to go really whenever.
So that's actually an interesting question. Some people have experienced this. I suppose many people have experienced this at some point in the family, and with their families, maybe not with their direct families, but if something like that happens, this would be more of maybe somebody that's more expected to have passed away versus an emergency call or something like that. But when that happens, is the normal first call to a funeral home?
Yeah, exactly. So typically what happens is we get a call from a hospice nurse, and they give us the vital information that we need, mainly the name and where they're at, the name of the next of kin or who we should be contact once we get there. And we usually just ask for 45 minutes to an hour, and we try to be there within that time frame.
So is it, I got to pull my foreigner card here because I'm not familiar with the processes. So there is typically a pretty quick pickup that happens.
Yes, as long as it's something that we can control, yes. We usually try to ask for about an hour, and that's kind of depending on the family as well. If the family would like more time until we get there, then we will grant them the time that they need.
Okay, perfect. Well, this is the Senior Moments Show. We're already coming up on our first break, and maybe if any of our listeners interested when we come back from our break, we'll ask Britton to share the phone number and the location for White Pine Funeral Homes for anyone that would like to speak with them. Again, we are sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group. If you'd like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info or email us at empoweringseniorscv@gmail.com, and the CV stands for Cache Valley. We're going to take a little break. Stay tuned.
This is Mark Thurston with White Pine Funeral Services. The best time to plan is when you have time to plan. Having a prearranged funeral gives peace of mind for everyone involved. White Pine will customize your final wishes to fit your needs, from a traditional burial to cremation to a custom headstone. White Pine also accepts prearranged plans from other mortuaries, and we will absorb any transfer or revocation fees. No penalty to you. Visit whitepinefunerals.com or come and see us for more information.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
Did you know 1 in 3 people will visit a nursing home? Did you know that once there, they will stay there for an average of 3 years? Did you also know there are insurance options that can help cover this experience? Hi, I'm Tracy Ferris with Blue Water Health Insurance. It's not cheap to stay in a full-fledged nursing home. Long-term care insurance can help you or a loved one get the care they need and deserve. If you wait until you need it, you may be too late. Give me a call at 435-890-8155.
Hi, this is Bruce with Comfort Care. One of the ways we help loved ones stay in their home is by assisting with daily tasks. These may include bathing, meal preparation, medication reminders, and housekeeping. We even help with shopping, transportation, and errands. Most of all, we offer a trusted level of care. Let us help you live your best life possible with Comfort Care. This is Bruce, and you can call me at 754-7676. Comfort Care, 754-7676.
You have a lot of options when it comes to buying or selling a home. Do you list it online, sell it yourself, or do you have a realtor help? It's a major financial and emotional decision. A realtor is the liaison between buyers and sellers and really helps you navigate complex contracts, deadlines, and disclosures.
Hi, this is Sid Roeder with Achievement Realty.
I work for you to get the best outcome for your situation. Let me earn your trust with a free consultation and a free market analysis. Call me today at 512-6406. Then list it, sell it, and move on.
Welcome back to the Senior Moment Show. If you're just joining us today, we're talking with Britton Atkinson. He's the funeral director, or a funeral director down to White Pine Funeral Home, which is in Providence, right?
Yeah, we're kind of on the border of Providence and Logan. So our address is 753 South, 100 East, Logan, Utah. But it's, right there on the border of Providence.
Across the street almost from Conservis.
You got it, yep.
So if you've seen the big Conservis building, you have seen the White Pine building.
Yep, just across the street.
And phone number to get in touch with you if people have questions?
Yeah, that's 435-709-6800.
So let's dive a little bit into what goes on day to day at White Pine Funeral Home.
Yeah, that's a good question because each day at the funeral home consists of something different. Every family that you work with is different, has different needs. But overall, in general, kind of a day-to-day, you're doing everything from filing death certificates to creating programs, funeral programs. You're coordinating with the cemetery, with clergymen, with churches, and just making sure that everything is planned out and ready to go, and make sure that the day of the funeral everything just runs smoothly. You're also meeting with new families as their needs come up. You could be designing headstones and helping families go through pre-need planning. Really, there is multiple things that we do each and every day, and just kind of depends on the day.
You know, you mentioned something made me think about. I don't know if we've asked this question before, but as far as the timing for putting a funeral together, what is fast? You know, how quickly can you do it, and what's typical?
Yeah, I'd say what's typical is right around 6 days to a week. However, we could do stuff or do a funeral, have everything ready as quick as 3 or 4 days. And that's all depending on the cemetery and just making sure that they're able to have the burial plot dug, or also working with the crematory, making sure that we can have those cremated remains ready. So for as far as how fast or what is typical, yeah, I'd say right in that 5 days to 7 days is pretty typical. However, 3 to 4 days, we could probably have everything ready to go and have it run smoothly.
I'm curious with as bad as the winter was this year, are you ever delayed due to weather and not being able to, and what happens in that case? Yeah,
for sure. So at times, cemeteries will say there's too much snow, we aren't able to dig the hole, we're gonna have to wait till spring. So what we'll do is we'll just hold the family's loved one there at the funeral home until that is able to happen, that burial is able to happen. Also, as far as setting headstones, they can't do that while the ground is frozen, so that has to be pushed off until spring. And especially this year with how wet everything is, it's really delayed a lot of stuff. And as we go to the cemetery to do burials, it's very muddy and kind of a mess. But we can control some of those factors of laying out boards for the family to walk on so they're not walking in the mud. And little things like that to help. But yes, weather does definitely have a factor in our job.
Well, that actually brings me to an off-the-wall question, but just as you mentioned the flooding, are there cemeteries in the valley that do not work right now because it's been so wet and they can't dig?
Right now, we have been able to work everything out. So yes, it does make it a little bit more difficult. However, right now the cemeteries here in the valley are really pretty awesome to, if it's not able to work out right at the plot, then we'll do it off to the side of the road, a mock setup, just to make sure that everything happens as normal, and we come up with ways that we can still do things. So yeah, like I said, the cemeteries are pretty awesome to communicate with us what we need to do and then make it happen.
What about, I'm just curious what distances you would go, or for example, let's say that someone lived here but wanted to be buried someplace in Idaho or Nevada or something like that. Does that happen? And then how does that manage?
Yeah, all the time, actually. We are happy to take people wherever they need to go. For example, I had the opportunity to take someone to San Diego because that's what the family wanted, and that's what we had to do. And so they would have their services here, and we would arrange for that burial to take place wherever it may be. Sometimes it makes sense to have the services and then drive a couple hours north or south, or other times we'll have the services and then the next morning we'll plan on going down to the cemetery. So we work with families, and whatever is best for them, we work it out.
You still do a graveside service in that case typically, or is that, in the case of San Diego, I'm guessing not everybody drove down there with you. Was that you just took them down there and buried them, or how did that work? Yeah,
in that case, it was we just took the person down in their casket, and we had the burial down there. However, if the family wants to travel, we're happy to have a little graveside service if that's what they choose to. So it really kind of depends on what the family's looking for.
Let's hop a little bit onto, you mentioned before, pre-planning a funeral. Out of, if you have 100 people, how many times do you think you have someone who actually comes in pre-plans?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'd probably say right around 50%. I mean, for some people, it's what needs to happen. It works out perfectly for them. For other people, it might not be in their best interest to come in and talk about their funeral or a loved one's funeral. And we understand that. So we just have that option for the people that would like to have that planned out and ready to go.
That brings up a lot of questions for me, actually. We're kind of running out of time, but just quickly, are there significant differences in the planning process in a pre-planned versus an unplanned? Is it a lot harder to do one that's not pre-planned?
No, I wouldn't say it's a lot harder. It does. I see the benefit to the family as things are planned out and just ready to go. Usually they come in and we'll just confirm everything that they had gone over. And it usually is very beneficial because the family isn't trying to make thousands of decisions all at one time, or trying to decide, what would their loved one really want. So it does make a huge difference on just the ease of making those decisions.
Thank you, Britton. We're already at the end of our second segment, but I want to give you a chance to mention the phone number one more time.
Yeah, you can get a hold of us at 435-709-6800.
Thank you. This is the Senior Moments Show. Again, we are sponsored by the Empowering Seniors Group. We're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is James Stevens with White Pine Funeral Services. At White Pine, we value compassion, integrity, and service. We are committed to serving you and treating your family as our family. We will be here when you need us most, to listen, to help, and to provide exactly what your circumstances require. At White Pine, we promise to dedicate our time and attention to you and your family. We invite you to come by and meet us. We're confident you'll feel a difference.
It's tough knowing how to care for an aging parent. Mom has always been there for me, but now I need to be there for her. When we found out she needed surgery, I wondered how I could attend to her needs and still be mom to my kids. I was so relieved to learn about transitional rehab at Maple Springs in North Logan. From the nurses to the physical therapists, it was like their whole staff was focused on helping Mom get better. Maple Springs in North Logan was an answer to my prayers.
Learn more at maplespringsnorthlogan.com or call 753-9400.
Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram offers free delivery service 5 days a week, Monday through Friday throughout the valley. Just stay home and they will deliver to you. With 25 different suppliers, they won't have the shortage that others might have. Also, with compounding and many other services, they will be able to serve all your needs. In order to stay safe and help slow the spread, please call Reed's Pharmacy in Hiram at 245-DRUG, and they will take care of you.
This is Brian Erickson for the Sunshine Minute. Each day, our nurses, CNAs, cooks and servers, housekeepers, laundry staff, music, recreation therapy teams, office staff, receptionists, and many more arrive around the clock. These heroes show up ready and willing to serve and protect our residents and clients. We are so grateful to our dedicated team. On behalf of the Board of Sunshine Terrace Foundation and our community, thank you to all of our employees for keeping us safe. We bring more to life together.
Welcome back to the Senior Moment Show. This is Bruce Lee. We're visiting with Brittany Atkinson, and my co-host is Sid Roederer. If you're just joining us. Brenton is the funeral director for White Pine Funeral Homes, and he's a relatively young guy, kind of new to the business. How long now?
About 2 years.
2 years. 2 years in. I'm curious, why did you choose White Pine?
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier in the show, I kind of fell into White Pine. I was referred to him, and I went down and talked with James, actually, and was just there, and they used me whenever they could. But I have since realized that the way that White Pine operates is phenomenal. The attention to detail in every small detail is huge, and we really do try to help families in whatever we can. And that's very evident in the way that I have been trained to help families.
So that actually brings up a question for me, because you also offer additional support with some of the administrative things and advice and referrals to other organizations that might help. Is that correct?
Exactly. We have an aftercare specialist. Her name is Melanie, and she will help families from closing out bank accounts and estates and pensions to referring people to grief services, and she is super awesome and such a big asset for White Pine and helping families in those aftercare moments.
Is there a charge for that?
It's just included in everything that we offer, so there's no extra charge for it.
So what stands out to you about White Pine? If someone is shopping around for a funeral home, what would you tell someone why you would personally choose White Pine?
Yeah, great question. I would choose White Pine because we really are. I mean, we say all the time we're raising the bar in funeral services here in Cache Valley, just trying to make these funeral experiences an experience, something for the family to look back on. And even though it's hard to lose a loved one, saying, you know what, that was a positive experience for me. And just trying to, like I said, have attention in every detail and making sure that everything runs smoothly and perfect. And also make it seem like the funeral directors are part of the family, and trying to help them realize that we care for them. And we're just trying to help them in whatever they might need.
You know, I was just thinking about kind of people who are not expecting to have to do a funeral. And now that you're in this industry, what advice do you have to people who are out there that may unexpectedly have this happen to them, where they all of a sudden need to plan this?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah, that is very hard for people who aren't expecting a death. I would give the advice to call around to funeral homes and just find what fits for them, and really try to find what they're going to offer to help them in that situation. Also to try to take the time in making decisions. Obviously, they're going through something very, very difficult, and they might not be in the right state of mind to have to worry about that kind of stuff. So take that time to really process what's going on.
Is that where the funeral director comes in? Do you directly work with people like that?
Yeah, kind of. Really, as soon as a family would call us, that's when we start taking those steps into helping them in what questions they have at the beginning, and then setting up a time for them to come into the funeral home and make those funeral arrangements and make some of those decisions.
That actually brings me, when we're talking about surprise death, in cases where there is no pre-planned funeral, no funeral insurance, no prepaid, and the family is maybe in financial distress, can I even ask this? Are you able to take payments, or do you work with the families?
That's a great question, and that's something that I really admire White Pine about, is we are very understanding in those situations. For example, anyone under the age of 18, our services are free to those individuals who pass away under the age of 18. We also do work with families if they need time. We understand that sometimes getting a life insurance payout, it takes time. And so if families need that time, as long as they communicate with us and let us know kind of their situation, we'll work with them and do everything that we can to help them out in those situations, for sure.
Thank you, Britton. We're already coming up to the end of our show, so I want to give you one more chance to mention the phone number slowly and also your location.
Yeah, so we are at 753 South 100 East in Logan, Utah, and our number is 435-709-6800.
Thank you, Britton, for coming in. That was great to learn and to meet you, the new guy at White Pine Funeral Home. This is the Senior Moment Show, visiting today with Britton Atkinson. He is a funeral director at White Pine Funeral Home. And again, our sponsor is the Empowering Seniors Group. If you'd like to learn more about the Empowering Seniors, you can do so online at empoweringseniors.info. And we hope you tune in again next week.